Now that we know how to use macros, we are going to create one that capitalizes each word for headings that are all caps. I'm going to click on the first heading and press Ctrl-Alt-1 to make it a true heading level 1. Unfortunately, headings carried over from Abby are not picked up by JAWS. We can confirm this by opening JAWS and pressing Insert plus F6.
Microsoft Word document, heading list dialog, headings list view, chapter 6 budget strategy: 1 of 1.
Yeah, the heading that we formatted with Ctrl-Alt-1 is listed, but the others are ignored. We'll fix that, but let's address the all caps for this first heading. Sometimes words in all caps are spelled out as if they are an acronym, so we are going to change these headings to capitalize only the first letter of each word. We could highlight the heading line of text and press Shift F3 twice, or we could use the home menu's change case function and select capitalize each word. Either way, we can use a macro to perform multiple actions while saving the time of clicks and/or key presses. We will go back to the macro button in the View menu and name this macro all caps. Remember to leave out any spaces in macro names. I already have some code put together that highlights the line of text and presses Shift F3 twice, so I'll paste that in. We should again set up a keyboard shortcut to make it more effective. We will go back into the File menu and choose the Options button. Next, we will click on Customize ribbon, choose the Customize button next to Keyboard Shortcuts, and scroll down to the Macros area in the first list. We can then choose all caps in the second list and give it a keyboard shortcut. I'm going to use Alt plus Shift plus S. Let's go back to the document and try that on the second heading. I like it, but what if we could add one more action to our macro that saves yet another step? This time we will go to the View menu and click the Macros drop down. Choose Record Macro and give it a name. I will call mine all caps H2. We can even go ahead and give it a keyboard shortcut here. I'm going to use a similar shortcut to the default heading 2 keyboard shortcut. For this macro, I will press Ctrl plus Alt plus Shift plus 2. That way, anytime I want to change an all caps heading to the correct capitalization and add a heading 2 style at the same time, I can just add the Shift key to the regular heading 2 shortcut. Now that we are in macro record mode, we can go ahead and use the home menu to apply a heading 2 style to this text. This text happens to be white, so I'll change it to black, but I don't want those actions to be part of my macro. So I'll go to the macros dropdown and choose stop recording. Let's try out the macro on the next heading. I'll move down to the third heading in the navigation pane and press Ctrl-Alt-Shift-2. I see that it does change the style of that heading, but it didn't do anything about the capitalization. We need to add those few lines of code from our first macro to this new one. We can go back to the View menu and click the Macro button. Next, click on the All Caps H2 macro and choose the Edit button. We can copy the code from our first all caps macro and paste it above the code that styles the H2 in the new macro. Control S to save, and then let's go back to the document. We can go ahead and use the all caps H2 macro on that same heading, and we should find that it fixes the capitalization. Excellent. We can then go down the list in the navigation pane, choosing subsequent headings and using Ctrl-Alt-Shift-2 to fix capitalization and heading structure at the same time. If we wanted a keyboard shortcut to do the same for H1s and H3s, we could build it in the same way that we just created the all caps H2 macro. I'll show that really quickly here. In the next video, we'll look at using a macro to style all tables in a document with one fell swoop.